Hello everyone and welcome to the Aviation with Elliot channel. Now, it's been a long time. I do apologise, life's just been getting in the way a little bit recently, but today's a slightly different video and I'm not sure how well it's going to do, or even if it's that useful, but I've seen a lot of kind of tutorials and people editing their aviation photos recently, and I thought I'd show you my process from going through this to, well, the end result. There's also a preset, free preset down below in the link in the description, which is you can access at any time. There's no key, but basically for me, whenever I'm editing, I want to have a bit of a balance. I want it to pop, but I also don't want it to be too kind of like obnoxious. It's kind of like a balance of everything. And even on bright photos, you can see me up in the exposure. So this is the photo I'm going to use. The preset does work on pretty much every photo I've seen. I've used it on Lightroom. The first thing we're going to do is up the exposure slightly, and as you can see, obviously you don't want it like this, and the exposure is quite sensitive, but I want it just there, just popping a little bit more. The contrast, of course, I'm not going to get, actually it looks quite nice, but I don't want to get rid of the contrast. I'm going to add a small amount, not too much, just a little bit of, so you can see here we've got the dark and the white and a little bit of contrast. We want to kind of maintain that throughout. Normally put the highlights up because obviously you want the whites and the clouds. The shadows, I don't adjust too much. I would put them a little bit lower. As you can see, again, contrasting the whites with the dark underneath the aircraft wing. The whites, it's all kind of subjective to your photos, but the whites, you can see here it doesn't pop. You can see here it definitely pops. I would say you don't want to go above 20 or below 20 for this. I'm going to say probably plus 11. And our blacks here, we're going to drag them down to get that contrast again. Now, as you can see, this doesn't look too good, although it does look a lot better than our original photo, actually. The curves I don't really touch too much, but you can make the basic S-curve, I believe. If you drag this up, it's going to make it flatter. As you can see, that does not pop, but if you drag it this way too much, for me, I would drag it slightly down. Actually, do I even do that? No. I would say don't adjust this too much, but what I always do is around this, between the what is that, the second and the third grid, push this up slightly. This is going to increase the whites, I suppose, of the image. Temperature, I actually don't touch this at all. I like to fine tune the colors. What I do for this is go saturation full and 0 and kind of look at the image, see if it actually affects anything. Now for me, I can see this doesn't, so I'm going to leave red down because I'm trying to make certain parts of the image pop and not the whole thing, like I said in the beginning. I like to drag the reds back a bit to give a vintage look. Minus 28. You can see, so you can see here yellow makes a big difference. However, I don't really like that oversaturated yellow look, so I'm going to put this down to about minus 20, and always kind of sliding. I never slide this way actually, which is kind of odd, but you can see the yellows look a bit funny here with a higher saturation, so I'm going to leave this down about minus 20. The greens, there's no greens, or there is greens, but I don't want the green in my image, so we're going to remove that. This is kind of minimalism, and you would think the teal would show more, but the clouds are actually the blue spectrum, so I'm going to leave that all the way down. This is kind of where the magic happens. I normally set this back quite a lot and get rid of the this is where most people kind of leave it with the sky, but I like to kind of wash it out a little bit because it makes the aircraft pop whilst you can still see the blue, and this may take a little bit of fine tuning, like there you can see. As you can see, the A380 pops out of the clouds, whereas before it all kind of merges in. Although everything else is popping out, we've managed to make the A380 pop too. And also further in this video I showed masking, which I sometimes use. However, I also adjust these quite a lot. Clarity makes a big difference, and for aviation photos I find it really helps. so +15. I normally go +10, but this photo works really well with it, and it's an older camera. And you can see here, clarity just does make that contrast without making it look too aggressive. And I don't adjust sharpening at all. Now masking, I'm not a massive fan on, because I kind of just like to modify the colours instead of actually change the whole image. But let's say, for example, these clouds, and obviously I can go around with a finer brush on the aircraft. There we go. And you can adjust the exposure, but as you can see, that looks terrible. Okay. What you can also use is the linear brush, which is what I normally do, to be fair. I'm trying to be fancy here. Linear gradient. You can see basically all of the red is going to be adjusted. Now, normally over the, like if you're taking a photo of the ground, you want to put the linear gradient over the sky, because that's what's going to be the darkest. But you see, this looks alright, and you can see where it starts. And now to get rid of that, I've had this issue a lot recently. Yeah, that's got the exposure in it, and then you can see we've gone from here to here.